Welcome to Max Takes on the World, and today I'm going to give you 30 things you should know before traveling here to Colombia. Now, my first tip is mainly for the men, and it's to be careful on Tinder here. I hear a lot of reports of men meeting women on Tinder, and they end up getting like drugged and robbed. So just be careful on Tinder here. I hear Bumble is actually better to use. All right, my next tip. So when you're here in Colombia, you should dress down. So like you see this watch I'm wearing, like don't go out wearing expensive jewelry or expensive clothing. You want to try to blend in as much as possible just to avoid making yourself a target. For transportation, for getting around, I'd recommend you take Uber over taxi. It's just a lot safer and it's pretty cost efficient too. Uber is illegal here in Colombia, and they'll want you to sit in the front seat just to avoid the cops seeing you sitting in the back seat. They'll know it's Uber, pull your driver over, and he'll get a ticket. We have a saying here in Colombia. It's called "No daughter papaya," which pretty much means don't give people a reason to rob you. Like don't give them a reason to target you. So my next tip is leave your phone in your pocket. Like when you're walking on the streets, any electronics, you just want to make sure they're away. If you need your GPS or you need to text someone, I would just stop on the street, like go into like a store or a restaurant, and just look at your phone and get what you need to do then. And try to remember the directions as best as you can. You always want to be very aware here in Colombia when you're walking on the street. Just know, who's walking beside you, and just have like a general sense of what's going on. I'll give you an example. I was in Medellin, Colombia, walking back to my hotel. Some guy came up very close to me trying to sell me magazines. And when he got very close, like it just felt, weird. I automatically sensed something is wrong. Then he went away. I immediately reached for my phone, and my phone wasn't there, so I knew he had it. So that's just like another example of being aware. If someone does try to pickpocket you or anything like that, you can catch these things coming pretty easily. English is not common, so I would recommend a little bit of Spanish, just like enough to order food and do what you have to do. But most people here don't speak English, so definitely brush up on your Spanish a little bit, or you can even use the translator app. Before I knew Spanish, that's what I would do, and it worked. It just takes a little while, but just be aware. Don't expect people to be speaking English here. Do not walk alone at night. Like even if you have to walk somewhere close, just take an Uber. A lot of the stories I hear of people getting robbed, it's people that were walking alone at night and something happened to them. So do not walk alone at night here in Colombia. Even if it's a short distance, just get an Uber. Lunch is huge here in Colombia. America, it's dinner for us where we all kind of meet around with our family and eat. But nope, here in Colombia, it's lunch. I was actually surprised because a number of restaurants will close here at 4 p.m. and I'm thinking, wow, this is crazy. Like, people gotta eat dinner, but nope, dinner's not the meal, lunch is. If you're going to be traveling around Colombia, I have good news for you. Domestic travel is very cheap, getting from like Bogota to Cartagena or Medellin to wherever, there are a lot of buses available and the flights are pretty cheap too. I think I just bought a ticket to go to the beach from Bogota, from Cartagena to Bogota for like $36 round trip. Pretty cheap, right? You always want to carry cash here in Colombia. Some places don't take card. I would say, most places are starting to take card, but there's always those places, especially when you're in more like rural Colombia, that they just don't take card and it's just like strictly cash. So you always want to carry a little bit of cash with you. And my next tip is don't carry too much cash. Only carry an amount you would feel comfortable losing. I would say, like 20 US dollars, which is pretty much like 100 pesos, is fine to carry. I wouldn't carry more than 200 pesos in cash on the street. Tipping is normal here in Colombia, and there's usually like a 10% fee automatically put into your bill just to know. But you can always tip extra if you like. I'm sure your waitress would love that. Christmas is huge here, especially in Medellin. I was in Medellin for Christmas, and it's like a big event. Like the whole month of December, starting from like December 10th to like even like mid-January, they still had Christmas parties. They still had Christmas trees up, and it's just Christmas parties and A lot of decorations in the street. Christmas is huge in Colombia, and it's a very good time to visit here. Prices are a little bit more expensive, but it's a good time for sure. It's cheaper to visit Colombia in the low season, which is September to November. You know, around Christmas time and the spring, prices go up. But September and November, if you're looking for budget travel, it's a good time to come here to visit. Normal for every building to have security and barbed wire fences. When I was first living here, I kind of got a little surprised, like, why is there security in like every building? But it's just a normal thing here. You'll also see a lot of guard dogs, which they're not really guard dogs. They're there to sniff for bombs because you know back in the old days of Colombia there were a lot of bombing, so you'll just see a lot of dogs. You know, it just makes you feel safer. You should definitely be aware of the lack of rules on the road here in Colombia. You know, not just Colombia, I would say South America in general. They don't really follow the rules on the road. It's kind of hectic. I personally, I've never driven here. I'm a little bit nervous too, and I wouldn't recommend you drive a car here unless you're used to driving this type of way. It's just a certain type of driving that if you're not used to, I really want to recommend it. But you know, for instance, say you want to cross the street, you know, in America or most places they'll slow down and wait for you to cross the street. But here, no, like, you know, pedestrians don't have the right of way, so be aware of that. Something I found out the hard way. M on the bathroom door does not mean men. It means mujeres, and H means hombres. One of the first times I was in Colombia, I went to go in the bathroom. I say M, I'm thinking men. Oh no, I went in, totally women, ran right out. Big mistake. Hopefully you can avoid that. Again, M means mujeres, which is women. H means hombres, which is men. Exchange your dollars here for pesos. Just take your money out in pesos already, preferably from an ATM that's out in town, not at the airport, because the airport has super high rates. In restaurants, payment is always made at the table. So the waitress will typically come up to you with, you know, the little card machine, and you just swipe your card and do everything you would do. And yeah, never let anyone take your card. Specifically, like in just Latin America in general, they always do it in front of you. Like, you know, in America, we kind of just, you know, give your card to the waitress and trust them and go back with it. Here, no. Just always make sure it's in front of you. There are a couple of phrases you should know when you're paying by card here. Typically, they'll usually ask you first, like credito or debito. You'll say credito. And then they'll ask you cuántas cuotas. Cuántas cuotas means like how many installments, how many payments do you want to make on it? Because here, you can make more than one payment for one thing, but you'll just say one because you'll just pay for whatever you're paying for, just like in one thing right there. You don't want to split the payments up. You want to carry a copy of your passport with you. You could either, you know, scan a copy, carry that. I carry a copy with me on my phone just in case. If by some unfortunate reason you end up being robbed, you don't want to resist the robbery or, you know, try to get out of it. Just hand over what they asked for, because you know things could go terribly wrong, and people will, you know, go the extra mile if you're not cooperating with them. Whether, you know, shoot you or whatever they're gonna do, just don't take any chances. Just give them what they're asking for. Colombians are very helpful and very friendly. Like, they are some of the nicest people. I think Colombia is one of the most welcoming countries I've been to, specifically in Medellin. Everyone is just very friendly. Hi, how can I help you? Or, oh, buenas tardes, good afternoon. And everyone just wants to talk and be happy. And yeah, you should have no problem meeting people in Colombia. Medellin is not the city it used to be. You know, it used to have a bad rep back in the 80s and 90s of all of Pablo Escobar and everything like that. But Medellin has changed, and it's actually a city a lot of expats are in right now. When I was in Medellin, you know, it was so many Americans, Europeans, just a lot of digital nomads coming there to work. It's very good weather, and it's a good city to visit. Talking about Pablo Escobar is very offensive in Colombia. So I would just don't talk about it at all. Just don't even. I met this girl and her last name was Escobar, and you know, I just couldn't even help the questions going through my mind, but I didn't ask. And you shouldn't either. Don't ask about Pablo Escobar. It could be super offensive unless you're doing like a Pablo Escobar tour. You know, it's like a close friend, but just don't bring the name up. Colombia is a very diverse country. You have the Amazon rainforest, you have the mountains, you have the beaches, you have the city. It's just so diverse. There's so much to do and see, and make sure you plan that out. Imported products here in Colombia are very expensive. For example, like if you want to buy vodka or clothing, sneakers, anything imported, the price is going to be a lot higher. If you're looking to save money while traveling Colombia, I've learned that it's a lot cheaper if you eat the local food. You know, the local food is a lot more cheaper. Like, what is the local food? For example, like you have arepas, empanadas, the bandeja paisa. Pretty much anything local is going to be cheaper than, you know, for example, like burgers or wings or anything kind of like not Colombian. Follow all of these tips. I promise you, you'll have a great time in Colombia and you'll be as safe as you possibly can be. It's a great country, a lot of music, a lot of just good vibes and good energy. So come here to visit. If you found any value out of this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more content, and until next time, fight on.